we're doing here is something very transformative and different. It's a completely new way of managing this disease. We have a chance to be first.
What exactly is Kyverna working on?
We're really focused on neuroimmunology diseases at this stage, and our first indications are in stiff person syndrome as well as myasthenia gravis. And we're moving on both of these in terms of our pivotal designs and our pivotal trials, and looking forward to actually filing our first BLA in the first half of next year with stiff person syndrome, which is really exciting for a young company like ourselves.
And what's your message been for investors this Jefferies?
Well, I think our big message has been that Kyverna is a leader. We're really establishing and really pioneering the way forward for how autoimmune diseases can be treated with these real transformative therapies like CAR-T therapy. In addition, KYV-101, which is our lead construct, is highly differentiated versus other CAR-Ts in this space. And we believe that we have a chance to be the first to not only launch in SPS, which is our first indication, stiff person syndrome, but also the first to launch in autoimmune diseases, period, which really puts us in a really interesting position and a really important position here as we continue to shape this market.
When you're trying to become first in class for a particular condition, what are some of the challenges that you come across?
Well, I think it's really educating around the disease like stiff person syndrome. This is a really horrible condition for patients that have no approved therapies, and patients progressively get worse over time. So explaining what happens to these patients and where the unmet needs are, and where CAR-T therapy like KYV-101 can come in and completely transform the lives of these patients, and not only improve their clinical symptoms, but do it with a one-time therapy that also allows them to eliminate all their background therapies like immunosuppressants and IVIG and other things that these patients are taking chronically over time. So it's a completely new way of managing this disease, and with that comes the education that needs to happen around how to manage these patients and where the commercial opportunities are.
And aside from what you've already mentioned, are there any particular milestones that investors should look out for?
We're looking to read out our pivotal phase 2 study for stiff person syndrome early in 2026 and file the BLA as well in the first half of next year. In addition, from our second indications perspective, which is myasthenia gravis, which is a significantly larger indication, we're now pivoting away from our phase 2 trial, which we just read out interim results at AANEM, and we're now moving into the phase 3 portion of that trial. And working with the FDA and through our RMAT designation, we're pivoting early into that trial, and we're starting to enroll patients in the back half of this year, and then we're going to continue to update the course of how that trial is enrolling as we move into 2026. But that could be a fast follower indication for us, and a much larger indication, and one where we have significant advantages versus current standards of care.
The biotech industry has gone through a tumultuous period over the past couple of years, but last year there was a sentiment that perhaps there's cautious optimism and some recovery. Based on what you've seen and heard at Jefferies this week, how do you think things are in the industry?
Oh, I think things are changing in the right direction for sure. There's a lot of positive engagement, not just with Kyverna and the work that we're doing, but I think across the CAR-T class more broadly. And of course, we're seeing a lot of the M&A activity and IPO and raising activity that's coming forward now that I think is actually really exciting. So I think there's cautious optimism. I think we got to continue as our companies moving forward, continue to focus on what we're doing, executing, continue to over-deliver on what we promised to the street, and I think we're going to show up in a really, really positive way in 2026. So we're really, really looking forward to next year.
And can you impress for our viewers the importance of what you're working on and why targeting autoimmune disease in this way is so crucial?
I think what we're doing here is something very transformative and different. Current standards of care and even some of the new therapies that are coming out in a disease like myasthenia gravis, for example, need to be added on a whole backbone of chronic therapy, including immunosuppressants and background steroids and other supportive care. This is chronic diseases that patients have to manage chronically with very expensive therapies that never get these patients to an MSE or minimal symptom expression. The opportunity we have with KYV-101 is to do this with a one-time therapy and bring these patients down to MSE and eliminate all their other background therapies, which completely changes the lives for these patients. Really gives them a chance at a long-term, durable remission that I don't think any other therapies right now are offering that promise for patients.
How important would you say the UK is to the biotech industry globally?
Well, I think the UK is very important for us. It becomes an important clinical trial site for us in terms of how we can recruit. There's obviously centers of excellence here that can inform both our neuroimmunology strategy, but we're also getting some really interesting early data in MS and rheumatoid arthritis as well, and we can continue to inform and support the development we're doing here at Kyverna.
Fantastic. Warner, thank you so much for your time, and it's lovely to see you.